What's going on, CashSports family? How y'all doing today? Thank y'all for anybody tuning in. Back at it again. And tonight, we got another topic. Today we're gonna be talking about NFL. So, season's coming up. NFL training camp just started. I just recently went to the LA Chargers training camp, so I got to see some exciting things there go down. Right now, I got my main man here, Artem. Hold on, my uncle just tapped in too. I have him. I'm gonna add him up here. How you doing, Unc?
What's going on? You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, that's what's up.
All right. So I got So as y'all know, I'm Cash. I got my buddy here that I used to serve with in the Navy. You want me to call you Artem, Lamb? How you want me to address you on here?
Man, don't even matter. Lamb.
All right, I got you. I'll stick to Lamb.
Yeah.
All right, and then I got my uncle here too, so I'm gonna just call him Unc in the meantime.
What's going on?
All right, man. So let's get into it, man.
What's going on?
NFL starting up, man. I'm not gonna hold you. I'm really excited about football starting up. When football and basketball is not playing, it just feels like a different atmosphere in the air. Like it ain't. You don't feel like the right type of man when when you don't got those two sports going on.
Real empty.
But when NFL starts coming up, when you start hearing about the preseason, these rankings and all these rumors and firings and suspensions going on. I mean, it's like the NFL is like it's a crazy business. I'm not gonna hold you. The NFL is like a really crazy business when you start considering like all the headlines, especially with Deshaun Watson tomorrow. Apparently, there's supposed to be he's supposed to meet with the disciplinary officer of the NFL. Which just so happens to be like a former judge that I read into today. So, that's another big thing going down. But preseason starting up, and it's going to go down. We're going to start to see a lot of these things that happened last season. A lot of questions from a lot of teams, a lot of expectations from a lot of teams. So we're going to talk about it. So, I'm gonna start off. I say, let's start off with our favorite teams. So I don't think y'all. I don't know if y'all can see it. I'm wearing my Yankees jersey today, even though we lost. I'm still repping out here because I got some faith in us this year. We supposed to. I think we supposed to go all the way. But I'm a Giants fan. For me, I know we going through some hard times. So I'm just leave it at that. So what's your team? Let the people know your team.
I'm sticking with my Giants for this year. I'm gonna start off fresh. I'm gonna have some faith in the new system, the new coach, and hopefully Daniel Jones can pull it off. Because he definitely has some things to prove.
Nah, for a fact. We definitely gonna get to the Giants because you already know I got a lot of things to say on the Giants, man. But Lamb, let the good people know, what team you repping this year.
Bang, bang, Niners gang. 49ers all day.
Okay. So, all right. So, I'm gonna go off Pro Football Focus, right? So, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Pro Football Focus. Apparently, a lot of top analysts and media guys, like this is like one of the biggest websites that they go off when it comes to rankings, statistics. It's basically, to a sense, it's like the Bible for media guys to look up stats. That's how people measure it. So pull it up. We're gonna be looking at the teams headed into this year. The chances that they have winning a Super Bowl likely happening in this upcoming season. So let me. All right. Chrome tab. All right. Y'all see it?
Yeah.
All right. So now we're gonna get into. I think we should start from. All right, let's just start from the top. All right. So number one. So Pro Football Focus, they got the Buffalo Bills as the number one team as winning the Super Bowl. They got them as the true contenders, and they got them on top. So I'm gonna start off by saying I definitely think the Buffalo Bills is, they in for another deep run. I think last season, Josh Allen had like one of his breakout years. And, you know, like since watching this guy play from his rookie year, back in his first playoff game, I believe it was against the Houston Texans. I mean, he wasn't necessarily having the best game, but he was definitely electrifying. He was something to see. You know, we saw a lot of promise in Josh Allen. I mean, we was back in the day, you know, when he was a rookie, I think Jalen Ramsey even said that he was trash. And then ever since that game, Josh Allen went off, you know, and he started making a statement, letting people know, like, hey, man, like, I can ball, man. So Josh Allen, so he just got paid. You know, they just added Von Miller, so they upped their defense. Not to mention, though, too, the Bills had the number one defense last year, you know. So with the addition of Josh Allen, he's locked in for the team. You know, his defense is looking sturdy, it's looking strong. So Bills, you know, they and their division too, even though they have a semi-tough division, it's not what it used to be. You know, obviously Tom Brady ain't he's not playing for the Patriots anymore. They got somebody like Mac Jones who needs to prove himself. And that's that. So I think the Buffalo Bills is definitely, you know, one of those teams. What y'all think on that? Or we can start with Unc first. We'll start with you. You still here? Let me see. Hello?
You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. Bills, I had got cut off, but I feel like the Bills, they might actually pull it off this year if Josh Allen stays on his P's and Q's from last year. He just builds up from that, and the additions to the defense. I think they might take it.
What about you? What about you, Lamb?
Yeah, I mean, really, how they was playing last year, I think if they would have made it to the Super Bowl, they would have won it. To be honest with you.
So you think
they were that strong of a team last year? They would have made it to the Super Bowl. They would have beat the Rams.
So you think they would have beaten the Rams if they went to the Super Bowl?
Yep.
Yeah. I think so, man. I think so. And to add to the rule changes this year. Where with the overtime and stuff, something with the overtime rule that they changed, I think it's gonna play out a lot for a lot of teams.
Yeah, and you know, let's talk about that for a little bit. I want to bring that up for the people who don't know what that change is. So there was a change in the overtime rule where both teams are now allowed to get the football after the other team scores. So essentially, it's what we've really wanted in the overtime rules, especially in the playoffs. But let's not get mistaken that it's only in the playoffs. So they're trying it out for this season. So we're gonna get to see, you know, how that change is really gonna affect these games. Because I mean, we've seen it a couple of times where, you know, Josh Allen didn't get the ball. He didn't get a chance to get the ball in overtime. We've seen Patrick Mahomes go through the same situation. I mean, you know, we've could have seen a different champion that year when the Patriots went to the Super Bowl also, you know. So not to mention when DeFord was offsides, you know, on that one play, that really could have changed anything. So, but yeah, I agree with you guys. I mean, based off what I said earlier, the only thing about, you know, the whole Josh Allen situation, I do remember during last season, you know, he was having some up and down games. Like I remember people, you know, pointing out, like, you know, Josh Allen's like, yo, what's going on? Like, this is not the guy that we've seen. He's pretty, like, you know, because from what I've heard and the way that the Bills play, they're not really a running team. You know, they don't really run the ball. If they're, most of their rushing yards actually come from Josh Allen, from what I've seen and what, you know, and how he plays, because he's got some wheels. Now, not to mention, you know, he does have a big arm, but you know, he is a running quarterback to his sense. He's not on no Lamar Jackson type stuff, but he definitely got some wheels on him. So we'll have to see. But I think we definitely agree there. I don't think there's really much to say about Bills.
One thing with that, I guarantee you they'll start adding some play action. It'll change a whole lot for that team.
Start adding some options there with Josh Allen, though?
Yeah, it's gonna change. I think with this year, is gonna open him up to that playbook and a lot more things that they can do with him and that team.
Who's their coach for the Bills? Do you know?
Was it the ball?
Sean McDermott, or so, it was like McDermott or something like that.
Yeah, I'm not even sure.
Yeah, I know it's like McDermott or something. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's like Sean McDermott or something. I think.
Oh
that
yeah,
name
because y'all
sounds,
just got the ball. That's what it was.
Yeah.
The Giants just got the ball. It's Sean McDermott.
Yeah. So coming in at number 2, this is another interesting pick. They got the Buccaneers as the second favorite team to win the Super Bowl. So I'm gonna head on straight with it, man. I honestly have the Bucs winning the Super Bowl this year. I think I like the whole narrative, the whole story thing. You know, with the NFL, it's like, you ever watch those documentaries where they had America's Game and all the players that were on that team, they were talking like, man, we were heading into this year. Yeah, this was my last year. It was an up and down season. Like, that's the sort of thing that I see with the Bucs. Like, that's the sort of story and narrative that I see. Like, Tom Brady heading into his last year, I know that he's probably itching for this 8th championship, even though it's, you know, like, something tells me I really don't want Tom Brady to get it, because you know, being a New York fan, like, you just don't want to see somebody from the Patriots like succeed. But at the end of the day, man, you got to give Tom Brady his props. He's been doing this thing throughout his whole career. Nothing leads me to believe that you should bet against Tom Brady in this situation, especially since the fact that Julio Jones just signed on that team. I mean, how can you beat a receiving core like that? You know, Julio Jones he has a 3rd most yards in the league since he has the most receiving yards in the league as an active player. And 1 year he racked up 1,871 receiving yards, which is the 3rd most all time in the season. So, hey, Bucs got some weapons. Todd Bowles is now the head coach, so you know they're gonna be thinking he's going to be all defense, and then Tom Brady's just going to literally be the offensive coordinator on that team. That's how I'm looking at it. I mean, you might as well have Tom Brady as it's really the offensive coordinator. Like, he could call the plays, he could audible, but that's how I see it.
Player coach.
So
with the Bucs, I don't see it happening. Low key, I think Julio's washed. But you never know. You never know. But his health hasn't been at that, not even 80-90% past couple of years. So kind of worried about that.
Julio Jones.
Yeah.
Okay.
So wait, because you have Julio, you have Evans, Godwin. And now you gotta think about what's their tight end situation too.
So I think they still have I know obviously Gronk is retired. I forgot that other big guy. He used to be a tight end for Alabama. OJ Howard. I think he's all right. You know, I'm not saying he's trash, but I think, you know, Tom Brady is still known for getting his you know, his tight ends the ball when it really comes down to it. You know, because like, I think no, you could tap in because you didn't really get to say your piece, man.
No, it's all right. Now it's about OJ Howard, man. I don't think he got it either. I agree with Unc when he said that he low key think Julio is washed. I mean, but you never know. He might got a season or 2 left in him. You know, but I don't see it happening for the Patriots, for the Bucs either though.
Especially for that receiver court, they're a little bit older, and these young boys is giving it to them, man. It's almost like the NBA, the older cats versus the young cats, and you seeing the talents from the young cats, like they're hungry. In the NFL, these corners, they want to prove a lot.
Definitely. And Mike Evans, he wasn't even 100% at the end of last season either. So
exactly.
I don't know how his off season been, but I mean, hopefully for them, he come back ready to go.
Well, I'm gonna go in with a little positive mindset. I assuming, you know, it's the NFL season. you like to think everybody's gonna go into the season healthy. You know what I mean? Until they're not, because we already know how this game is. You know once the season commences. That's when those pieces start dropping. You know, like you don't got your line, you don't got your tackle, you don't got your linebackers, you don't got your corners. I mean, it could go from any way. You know, it really goes like that. You know, like hey, the Bucs
talking about my team a few years ago, 49ers, man.
Yeah, we talking about the Giants last year. You know what I mean? So, but one thing I'll just disagree with you. I don't know. I see Julio having, I wouldn't say 1,000-yard season. I'll probably say like if Julio Jones can just rack up at least like 600, 700, 800 receiving yards and maybe like 5 TDs or even 6, 7 TDs, because I think Tom Brady will get him the ball. I mean, we've seen the situation with Antonio Brown still being able to be the third option. Remember, with Julio Jones being the third option, he's gonna have like a slot corner on him. You know what I mean? Like Julio Jones still got size, assuming he still has, some type of speed. I don't think them hands are really going anywhere. And not to mention, he was playing with Ryan Tannehill, for Christ's sake. Like we got cutting some slack there. So.
See, and one thing about that, I'll give to Julio. I feel like if they're down to the goal line and you throwing the ball in the air, his strength. He still got his strength. Like, but when it comes down to running down the field and stuff like that, that's where I feel like he's gonna get exposed, where he's not gonna really make it. But put him close to the goal line where he don't got to do a long route running. Man, I think he's gonna dominate like fuck. For real.
Yeah, and you know what? It's almost like the same recipe with Odell, with OBJ. During the season, remember, he wasn't really getting like those big yardage plays. Like OBJ was mostly used to get like those important short yardage plays, like maybe 2 yards, like those guaranteed conversion plays. And then over time, like, that's when Stafford was really slinging the ball during the playoffs. But I think all Julio Jones just needs to convert. I think for the most part, he's just trying to, win, play with a great quarterback, and at the end of the day, win. So, like I said, at the end, I think we can all agree the Bucs are true contenders and deserve to be at least number 2, number 3 on this list.
Yeah.
So coming in at number 3, the defending Super Bowl champions, Rams. They looking right. I mean, I don't. There's not really a lot of arguments to say like why the Rams couldn't run him back this year. I mean, Aaron Donald's back. They got Matthew Stafford on contract. Jalen Ramsey's still on the team. They added in Allen Robinson. They still got some. They still got Cooper Kupp. So for the most part, this team is still together. And there's balance. There's a foundation. They have the coach. They got the QB. They got the defense. I mean, really, they're probably the best all around team in the league so far. And when it comes to roster and just based off their makeup, like Aaron Donald is probably the best defensive tackle or probably the best defensive lineman since maybe Strahan, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Because we can't say LT.
Nah.
But you know what though? You could probably make a very good argument that Aaron Donald is better than Michael Strahan. Sorry.
Oh yeah. Almost yeah. But yeah.
Like you could say. Continue.
Because the same way we seen Michael hit his peak those playoffs. And he was like, man, especially when he had someone next to him on the other side, he was looking like a real monster. Like, so yeah, and Aaron Donald, yeah, he's just a straight up monster. Like from start to finish of the season, it's like,
he's like to the literal sense, like an actual bully on the field.
Yeah. From week 1 till if he makes the playoff or not, he's gonna beast the whole year.
Yeah,
the whole year. You always got a plan for him.
And you know what? That team feels so much better knowing the fact that when you got Aaron Donald on your line, on your defensive line, and you got Jalen Ramsey on your secondary, that's tough, because it's like you got to be quick. You got to get the ball out there quick, but then you got to worry about the coverage. It's like that's a lot of pressure. You got anything you want to add on to that, Lamb?
Yeah. So being a fan of a team that got to see them twice a year minimum, it's scary. I ain't even gonna front. It's scary. It's scary. But I mean, last few seasons we've been coming out on top, man. So, I mean, of course we took the L in the playoffs last year, but I mean, we pretty much more than enough. I say we've been having a number. But it's just, I don't know, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know how we've been pulling it off. I don't know how we've been pulling it off, man.
I mean, it's because one, Kyle Shanahan. I think when you have like really good coaching, I think that can once you have really good coaching, I think you can compete with any team in this league. You build once you have that foundation, you got your players on the right mindset. They're disciplined. They're making the right plays because. It's almost like what Bill Belichick does. All his players, or what he tries to format, all his players, he just tries to break it down to them and say, look, just play your position. Just do your job. Don't try to do everybody's job. Just do one job. So with Kyle Shanahan, I'm not saying that's his play style, but he knows how to get the best out of his players. And that's something, we can all agree. And I think that's what makes the 49ers so physical and just a tough team to beat overall. Like it's just like having, and they just cashed in on Debo. So you already know Debo's ready to go. And Debo's a monster, man. He's a beast, man. Like that playoff performance, I've never seen something like that, in a minute. Like,
the only thing about that with me, like, I don't know how. I think one of his gripes was how he was being used. I think he really wanted to just be used as a wide receiver and not in the running game. I mean, I think he might have been like their number one rusher last year.
So, or I think it was like yardage, or at least like yards per carry.
Yeah, yards per carry. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. So it was. I mean, you take a real beating in running back. But for a wide receiver, there's playing running back too.
Yeah.
Man, is your longevity gonna be definitely gonna be cut short. So I think that was the real reason why he wanted to be traded. I mean, but I think he's probably gonna be just used strictly as a wide receiver this year. So coming out of the backfield, man, I don't think we're really gonna see it. I ain't gonna say as if we see it at all. It's definitely not gonna be as much.
Okay, got you there. All right, so
this is a real sad situation, but I mean, it is what it
is. Nah, I hear you. All right, so before we get into number 4. Everybody that's watching right now, please drop that like and subscribe, man. Hit that notification button. I'm gonna try to be streaming at least once a day, and just keep having these conversations because I'm here for it, man. We here at CashSports, so let's get to it. All right, so number 5.
Wait, hold on. One thing about the Rams, they need to sign. I know Odell injured, but they need to sign him, man.
Yeah,
they definitely need to sign him.
They need to sign him.
Yeah. I can see that. Yeah, you know what? I could see somebody probably picking him up maybe like mid-season. Just for playoffs. I think what teams are doing, they're just trying to use this time as leverage and probably pick him up maybe on another veteran, a veteran minimum, because in a way Odell's stock increased after that win. The only reason why no team is signing him right now is because he's hurt. If he wasn't hurt, best and believe OBJ would have gotten another max contract. Probably he would have gotten some big numbers.
Yeah,
if he had not gotten hurt. So I agree with you on that one.
Definitely agree,
Uncle. For sure. So right here at number 4, the Kansas City Chiefs. You know, I mean, it's really no surprise there. It's, you know, same as the other teams. I mean, Kansas City Chiefs has been competitive for the past couple of years since Patrick Mahomes has taken the helm. But honestly, I think there's a lot of questions with the Chiefs. You know, even though I don't think there's really much doubt in Patrick Mahomes' play, because all that noise about Patrick Mahomes, mechanics, and all that. Hey, look, man, I ain't listening to none of that. I'm looking at the stats. I'm looking at the MVP. I'm looking at the Super Bowl, and I'm looking at where he's landing or how far he's taking his team in the playoffs. And at the end of the day, when Patrick Mahomes is the quarterback, you know, he could virtually take him anywhere. Now, do I think they're going to win the Super Bowl? Hell nah. Simply because of the fact that this division that they are in right now, I don't even got them winning their division, to keep it 100 with you. I got them 3rd place in their division. And honestly, I'm not even trying to put that up against them. I just think the teams that they're going to be going up against this particular year, they're going to have some hard losses. I'm telling you now, they're going to have some bad L's. And it's going to be close ones. It's going to be close games. It's going to be hard-fought games. That division is going to be beastly. So Chiefs, man, they got a lot of work, man. And you already know, since they already got a quarterback like Mahomes, guess what? Big games, Monday night games, Thursday night games, you know. So some of those games might not even be division games. They might be against other teams, other good teams. So I haven't really ran down the Chiefs schedule as of right now, but I'm pretty sure, you know, they're gonna have to face some competition thick and through. But I don't think that's anything new to the Chiefs. But yeah, I don't got them winning the Super Bowl, nor do I have them winning the division. So Lamb, what's your take on that?
And Pat Mahomes is a slinger, bro. He throws the ball. Whenever he got to hold the ball, he can get out of there. He's definitely gonna get out of there on you, but he's a slinger. The only sure hands they have on their team right now is Travis Kelce. He has no other sure option. I mean, pretty much his wide receiver core that he's used to is pretty much depleted, man. So this off season, I mean, working hard with the guys that he got now, and being able to take that into a game. I mean, they might be a wild card.
Okay. What about you?
They might be a wild card. I got them. That's as good as it's gonna get right there.
Okay. What about you, Unc? What you think?
You said something earlier. There's a couple of things. There are games that they're gonna play. They're gonna be tight games. They like you said, they're gonna lose some tight games. But one thing I'm not gonna doubt is Andy Reid and his coaching, because that man can coach. I've seen when he was with the Eagles. I've seen those tight giant games where they've come, like Andy Reid can coach his ass off. So I'm not even gonna doubt. Like you said, Lamb, they might end up being a wild card team, but they'll definitely be in the playoffs, and you should definitely be scared of them, because Andy Reid does not let you down as a coach. He's one of the greatest coaches in the NFL.
No, I agree. You know, like, and it's crazy, you know, that that you say that too, because since we're Giants fans, I mean, we had a lot of Andy Reid, you know, like a lot of Eagles, matchups with Andy Reid, and you already know there were a lot of times where the Eagles have let us down or rain on our parade, So
I know. Yo, that he's one of the few coaches that I'm afraid of. Honestly, he's the only coach that I'm afraid of in the NFL. I'm not afraid of Bill. It's Andy Reid, because that man, when it comes to plays and drawing up plays and doing something to mess up your whole team to catch momentum, he's gonna find a way, and it just violates your whole team, man. One of the games that still hurt me to this day is that Michael Vick game, where the Miracle at the Meadowlands, where they came back down from 20-something points, I think.
You talking about that one with Deshaun Jackson when he ran the ball back?
Yeah, man, that game hurt me so bad till this day.
Man, that wasn't even Andy Reid. That was just a lucky ass play.
Bro, no, bro. It's not even that. It was it's not just that play. It's everything that led up to those plays.
Yeah,
boy,
right.
we were up that majority of that game. We had that game. We lost that game in the last couple of minutes.
Yeah, we did.
That shit was that. I'm telling you, and that's all Andy. Yo, I'm telling you. Yeah. Andy Reid is a scary ass coach. Yeah. Don't keep that game close.
Nah, for sure. I even remember when Tom Coughlin. I remember when there was a picture up in the newspaper with Tom Coughlin. He was like yelling at the punter, like, "Why would you punt the ball to Deshaun Jackson?" Like, you know what I mean? Like it was that was a bad L. That was a really bad L. On the Giants' part. So, hey, it is what it is, man.
And the thing is, it's not just our team. I've seen it do it to other teams too. So it's like, yo, Andy Reid, once he has a quarterback, he's gonna make it happen.
No, for sure. And he's got his quarterback now.
Yep.
And you can honestly, truly say this is the first franchise quarterback that Andy Reid really had. You know, like in all honesty,
since McNabb. Yeah.
You know, and even McNabb, even though like McNabb was a above average quarterback, he wasn't the guy to take them to the promised land, unfortunately. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like even though like it's a tough thing to say, but like I don't think McNabb would have been able to pull off that playoff run the same as Nick Foles had. Am I do you agree, or do you just
honestly I think he could have. He would have gotten one or two, but sometimes I think with McNabb, a lot of his pride came in the way too, because he did a lot of bonehead plays. Really, like, what the hell, like, dude, you're a beast. How you do this one week and then the next week you do this?
Sounds like Tony Romo to me.
Yeah, almost similar type, like. So much potential where they can violate your team, especially when we had them in the division. They were scary dudes to play, yo. Like, but they always found some way to mess up a game, or it was always something.
Straight blow it,
yeah, basically. All right, so coming in at number 5 is the LA Chargers. Now, I got the Chargers winning the AFC West. That's my sleeper pick. That's my upset pick. I think the Chargers. I think this is the year when they make a statement. I think they really try to make a playoff run this year. I mean, Justin Herbert, he's on his rookie year. He's still on his rookie contract, not rookie year. And I think this dude's gonna be special in the league. He's gonna be special for real. I mean, his QB completion percentage is top tier. I think him and Mac Jones had 3,600 passing yards with the addition of 60% passing completion, and I think they're the only 2 quarterbacks to do that in their rookie years. So. And especially since they upped their defense, they got Derwin James, they got Khalil Mack. Even though Derwin James wasn't at training camp, I think it's just some issue with some contract. But you already know, I think they're gonna get him back on their team. And then Mike Williams is coming up as a really good wide receiver. Keenan Allen has always been there. Eichler is a very good running back. So right now, this is the Chargers window to win a Super Bowl, because typically a team's best time or their best chances to win the Super Bowl is when their rookie is, or when their quarterback is on 10 to 12% of the salary cap, So This is their window. This is literally their best opportunity. Anybody want to chime in?
Agreed, man. Defensively, J.C. Jackson, special player. I think Khalil Mack is gonna be he gonna come back. He's gonna be real nice for them. Him and Joey Bosa being able to attack. That's gonna be real nice. And then they offense, man, is pretty tight.
No,
yeah,
I don't see a Super Bowl run for them.
yeah.
Hey.
It's a lot of competition within that division. I mean, with the Broncos, you know, they just got Russell Wilson and a few other players. Who else? The Raiders. Man, they beefed up.
Yeah.
And then, like we said, man, you can never count out the Chiefs. So, I mean, it's gonna be a lot of tight games even within the division. So,
yeah, definitely gonna be tight. I see them as another wild card team. Definitely not winning the division.
Okay. Let's tap into the next one here. So, Pro Football Focus got them as could be the year. So, you know, they got them as a hit or miss. Coming in at number 6 is the Green Bay Packers. So, you know, there's a lot of news speculating on whether, you know what the Packers are going to be looking like this year. So, honestly, Lamb, I want you to go first since your team was the one that, you know, kind of embarrassed the Packers last year. Yeah, I wouldn't want to kind of chime into that because I bet on the Packers last year.
I'm gonna be honest, man. That playoff game against the Packers was stressful. It was very stressful, man. But I mean, we came out, we got the dub, and man, you just can never count out Aaron Rodgers, man. Like you leave him with too much time on the clock. You might be done, but the only thing now is, his receiving core. Like he's another slinger. So I mean, your receiving core is your bread and butter when you're a slinger, man. You ain't. I mean, I think he got a good rookie in Christian Watson. I was kind of hoping we got 49ers got Christian Watson, but I mean, it is what it is. I mean, just that Trey Lance and Christian Watson combo, they went to the same school.
Okay.
But I mean, Sammy Watkins, hit or miss. Be honest with you, hit or miss. The biggest L they took was Devontae Adams leaving, bro. That was a huge L, bro. And then I mean, other Valdez Scantling, he went to Chiefs, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he left too.
He left too. It was somebody else I think they left too. I can't remember. Yeah. But yeah, I mean his receiving core he is pretty much brand new. So I mean, the running game, Adam Jones, he gonna do what he do. Yeah.
What about you? What about you, Unc?
Aaron Rodgers is done. He's finished. I don't know if y'all remember the play during the playoffs against the 49ers. He was basically force feeding it to Devontae Adams because he had people wide open on that field, and he just I'm like, what are you doing, guy? So with that being said, now that he's not on that team, he don't have that safety blanket. Unless he's been working with those that receiving core he has now since the off season, I don't see it happening now. It's gonna take him another 2 years to get used to. Yeah, his time was last year. He should have won it last year, but I think it was just the force feeding to Devontae Adams, or he didn't trust the other receivers. But it's not happening for him. I'm honestly, I'm just glad that Eli has his tool, with that, with those quarterbacks, because it makes him look great, even greater.
Definitely.
No, I agree. Because people forget, man, like those two playoff runs with the Giants, like I think we had to go to the Packers every time. If people don't remember.
Yeah, we had to go through Favre the first time, then the second time Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, and then that first playoff run in 2007, the Packers were 13-3. And I think the second time around, the Packers were like the number 1 seed that year. I think that was Aaron Rodgers' MVP season also when we won the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
that was his MVP season. So I'm gonna take a different road on this, man. Like even I agree with y'all. I'm gonna say this. I agree with y'all. I don't think the Packers win this year. I think their best opportunity was last year. You know, like come on, he had everything, bro. Like you had the home field advantage, you had the MVP. You know what I'm saying? Like it was almost textbook. It was like, come on, bro. Like really, you really lost this game. You really like you bit the apple on this one. You know, so it was a lot of disappointment with Aaron Rodgers. And honestly, that was the worst loss of his career. I don't care what nobody says. Like that was boo boo. That takes a hit to his legacy. What you gotta say?
Go ahead.
You got it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go out on a real thin limb and say that the Packers don't even make the playoffs this year.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised at all.
But you know, I gotta disagree with y'all, man, because here's the thing, right? Because first, you know, we gotta still consider the division. Like Aaron Rodgers is still known for being on top of that division. You know, he's still going against the Lions. I think the only really toughest competition to him is really the Vikings, and they only play them like, you know, twice a year. You know, so he's still going against somebody like Justin Fields, who still needs to prove himself on the Bears. I don't see the Lions really doing anything or taking in division anytime soon. I still don't got the Vikings, you know, winning out division. So I think that still leaves the Packers at the top. I think where it starts to defer is, you know, obviously with the Packers going against, you know, true contending teams that got all these packages and there's in these receiving cores and better defense essentially. But I think Aaron Rodgers does find a new guy. I think Alan Lazard. I think, you know, somebody's gonna come up. Somebody has to step up. You know, it's just the way it is. I was watching Fox Sports on the Herd, and one of his receivers that was playing with him, I think his name was James Jones, and he said something about Aaron Rodgers that made me like really that really stuck out. And he was like, yo, when you play with Aaron Rodgers in training camp, he takes a lot of chances. Aaron Rodgers uses training camp to build trust with his receivers. So a lot of these guys, like, you know, when he's throwing him the ball, like, that's because he went through the motion through training camp and getting these guys the ball, like making sure, like, hey, you know, conversating with these guys, communicating with these guys, like, hey, run this route this way, run this route that way, and this is coming from somebody who's played with Aaron Rodgers. So I think, you know, Aaron Rodgers gets a lot of blowback, at least in that regard, but I think that is a very good thing, you know, coming from your quarterback, to try to build that relationship very early, so during the season he already knows what type of guy you're going to run, you know, you're going to be when it matters. And he's already played with Alan Lazard for a couple years, and I just looked this guy up, man. Like, you know how tall this guy is? He's 6'5", bro. Alan Lazard is 6'5". And Aaron Rodgers is known for being a very accurate quarterback. So at the end of the day, Aaron Rodgers is still known for you know, building a lot of these guys up and getting the ball where where they need to put it. Like, people don't remember, or some people might remember, like Jordy Nelson. Jordy Nelson wasn't really the biggest name in the league, but he had numbers as one of the best receivers in the league. You know, people might not remember that. You know, and Jordy Nelson was definitely Jordy Nelson was definitely putting up numbers for Aaron Rodgers when he played with Aaron Rodgers. You know, and also Devontae Adams was playing with Jordy Nelson. People forget, you know, Devontae Adams wasn't there. You know, like, he didn't just arrive in the league 2-3 years ago. Devontae Adams was an experienced veteran. He just came up as a slot receiver, And then now he's just really, you see the work ethic, you see the type of player he is, and then he grew into the type of receiver he is today. And I think that's a result of all the hard work. I agree that they took a hit since Devontae Adams is on the Raiders, but it was still you was gonna have Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams take 40% of your salary cap, and I think something like that's gonna kill your team, because then you already know how the NFL is. You got to rob Peter to pay Paul. So I think from a management standpoint, I think it was a better decision, and just give Aaron Rodgers the opportunity to say, like, hey, this is what we can give you. You're gonna have to at least try and make it work with these guys, and I think somebody will come up. But I think we're on the same page here to say the Packers probably isn't winning the Super Bowl, but I think when it comes to Aaron Rodgers' career in this whole Super Bowl scenario about him winning the second one, I think it's better. It's always about how you finish in the league. It's not how everything in the middle. Because John Elway wasn't winning Super Bowls like that until near the end of his career. So I mean, hey, Packers might sneak one, in these coming years. We may not know, but at the end of the day, with Aaron Rodgers there, I think that still puts them in a point of competitiveness for a Super Bowl. So that's
mean, Alan Lazard as your QB1.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, your
wide receiver
wide receiver one. Yeah, I don't know. This is a little iffy, but I'll say this. My comment about them making the playoffs. I had to think about it. The Vikings got a new head coach this year. So I mean, I think that might take some time to develop. So I'll give them a playoff run.
Okay, got you on that. So next one, we got the Denver Broncos. So this is one of the most anticipated teams I think people should be really looking out for, considering that the Broncos finally got the franchise quarterback. The Broncos haven't had a quarterback since Peyton Manning. They went through some tough times. I'm not gonna hold you. They went through the trenches.
Literally.
They went through Drew Lock. They went through Brock Osweiler. Like, anybody remember Brock Osweiler?
God,
that man. So but Russell Wilson, man, he's on the Denver Broncos. I think the Broncos, man, they're one of those sleeper teams. I agree with Pro Football Focus in saying that this could be their year. I think they were relatively a complete team last year, minus the whole QB situation. So I think the Broncos, they're a more complete team than we let on. And I think Russell Wilson has shown that he can blossom his receivers. I think Russell Wilson has that type of effect on receivers, just like Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers. I think he can really build his guys up. So what do you guys think? You can start first on this.
I'm still debating on Russell Wilson if he's really that good. I know he definitely has the arm. He has one of the prettiest spiral throws in the NFL when he's throwing that deep ball. So with that team, I think he might be able to pull it off. But I want to see with him more pocket presence, like less scrambling, more in the pocket. Because we know what you could do. But sometimes when it's time to sit in that pocket, he looks a little shaky. But I think Denver might make some noise. They'll actually make some noise and make it to the playoffs.
Okay. What you think, man?
I agree with that playoff run with the Broncos. I mean, you think about it, I'm glad that Russell Wilson is out of my division. Like, thank you, Jesus, he's out of my division. But I mean, you think about it, man. They haven't had a like you said, a quarterback since Peyton Manning. I mean, the best one they had was Teddy Bridgewater. And in that time between Peyton Manning and now Russell Wilson. So it's definitely a breath of fresh air for that organization. I want to see what their running game is going to be like.
Mm.
I mean, I don't really know who they got in their backfield.
I think it's
right
still
now.
Morgan. I forgot his name. He used to play for the Chargers, and he played running back for Wisconsin.
Okay.
Or Nebraska.
Okay.
I forgot his name.
I know who you're talking about. I can't think of his name.
Yeah, he got dreads.
Okay. Okay.
So, and it's crazy, Unc, that you bring up Russell Wilson's deep ball, because to all the people who might not know, Russell Wilson has been the most accurate deep ball passer out of all the quarterbacks, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. I'm telling you, his deep balls, you see him, you be like, damn, they got someone's gonna catch. Someone is definitely catching it. It's his deep balls are real, especially when he runs out the pocket and he's scrambling and he throws that ball down the field. You know someone is catching it. It's a pretty thrown ball. Like, I've never seen him throwing an ugly ball. Yeah, I'm like, my gosh.
No deep ducks.
Yeah, like, but at the same time, like, I want to know, like, how well does he know how to read the defense? Like, is he really that good at reading defenses? That's why I can always appreciate Tom Brady when he's doing the pre-call to see who's moving around, because he want to know who's moving up, who's playing what position, are they running up, are they playing coverage. And that's why I give it to Tom Brady with that, because that man knows everything. And you're not really, you see it with some other quarterbacks doing it, like there's a very few, but you would like to see more doing it. Like, I used to think that Peyton Manning was a boring quarterback because he used to just mess up everyone's defensive plays. But when you start paying attention to it and looking into it, you be like, yo, I kind of want my quarterbacks being like, kind of like Peyton, like, make the defense think. Don't let it just that one set play and they comfortable and they able to run it. Like, switch it up.
Yeah. And you know what though, you bring up a very good point though too, because with Russell Wilson, I mean, this has kind of been swept under the rug, but Russell Wilson, low key, I think he's almost in the same bracket as Aaron Rodgers is when it comes to needing to win another Super Bowl. Because I mean, we've seen what happened last time when he threw the ball in the Super Bowl. It wasn't pretty. You know what I mean? That was an ugly situation. You know, so the fact that you bring him audibles, right? Like I was always saying this with Russell Wilson. I'm like, on that last play, I understand everybody is saying, like, why didn't you give the ball to Marshawn Lynch? But I was saying, like, all right, if you have the play, right, and you're reading the defense, you can probably tell that they're in a formation where that can probably conflict the play. Why not call an audible to fake the inside run to Marshawn Lynch and then do a QB boot? That would have been a guaranteed win. You know what I'm saying? That would have been a guaranteed win. Like, Russell Wilson definitely got wheels. I don't understand it. I didn't understand that situation at all. Like, you had two options and you pick option C, which is the worst option on the list. You know,
hold on. Who does AJ Green play for?
I think he's on the Cardinals, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he's on the Cardinals. Yeah. Okay, you remember it was a play that him and the QB, right? They were running. And it was in the end zone, and the QB realized that it was a one-on-one matchup, but AJ Green didn't pay attention to that.
That was last year against the Packers.
Yeah, that was last year. He didn't even turn around.
He didn't even turn around, but he knew what he wanted to do. That's the thing. That's how you know who thinks about the position, who knows how to read. Because anytime your best wide receiver is on a one-on-one, throw that ball in the air.
Yeah.
And he knew that, but AJ, as a veteran, didn't keep that. So that's what I was thinking about, like, for that situation.
Yeah. All right. So number 8 coming up now, as we can see, is the Cincinnati Bengals. This is the reigning AFC Conference champions. We already know the story with Joe Burrow. I'm fully locked in on Joe Burrow. I'm not gonna hold you. I think this guy's gonna be a beast. I think he's gonna be a monster in this league. I think, like with Jamar Chase and even to an extent, that guy running in the backfield. I forget his name. He was
Mixon.
Yeah, Joe Mixon. They got some good, they got some good tight ends. They up their defensive line. Thank God, because Joe Burrow was going through hospice. Going through that line, man. That man was going through. He was having some problems last year, but still managed to take his team to a Super Bowl. I'm telling you, I've never seen something like it. So, especially since the fact that he's on a rookie deal. This is their window also. They could do it again, but just like the Chiefs, just like in an AFC West team, the Bengals got just as bad as a competition in their division. The Steelers, the Ravens, even to the extent with the Browns, those aren't pushover games. You're not you're not just blowing those teams out. You got to actually play some real physical football, some real physical play to be able to beat those teams, because the Steelers last year, they were still one of the best defensive teams in the league. The Ravens, if they had not been hurt, I mean, there's a bunch of things that could have happened. And even though Lamar Jackson has been, he's gotten a lot of criticism over his play, over his QB play. I mean, he's still dangerous out of the backfield. I mean, you can never overlook Lamar Jackson. So, what you think about the Bengals?
Oh, they got it. Joe Burrow, he a bad man. Like I think the sky's the limit for them. As long as they keep doing what they gotta do, that defense look good. Matter of fact, they just need to show up that O-line, and he'll be all right. He's gonna even be more of a monster.
What about you, Lamb?
I definitely agree with everything I just said, man. They that O-line. They got to do something about the O-line if they haven't. But I mean, they get that right. Sky's the limit. I mean, you might be talking the next Tom Brady.
Yeah. Especially you give him a pocket, yo, he's gonna pull it off, man.
No, I agree. And you know what? Not just the O-line. They gotta find something. They gotta find out what to do with Eli Apple. I just saw a video of him. He just got cooked by Jamar Rice in practice.
Wait, he's still on that team?
Yeah, he's still on the team.
Oh man.
So hey, man.
They coming after him this year.
Oh yeah, for sure. So hey man, he got a long season ahead of him, man. 18 game, was it? No, 17 games this year.
Yeah. 18 weeks.
Hey, look out on that one.
And that's minus the playoffs, because they definitely gonna make it back.
Yeah, so for sure. All right, so coming in at number 9 is your team, Lambs, San Francisco 49ers. So, this team, like, it's really like a coin toss, every year, because it's like your team. I mean, like, when your team is complete, healthy, everybody's playing, it like the 49ers are literally, I think, one of the most dangerous teams. Like, it's because they're such an underdog team. The ceiling is so high. Like, just one playoff win is like, oh, okay, you know what? They can really make a run. Like, you guys were in the NFC Championship game. So if Jimmy Garoppolo would have played even slightly better, y'all could have probably lost that game. So Niners, the biggest question is Trey Lance. I think a lot of people, I post a couple shorts in relation to Trey Lance, and a lot of people feel like Trey Lance is starting. It might be a little too early, but I think, the organization, they feel differently. They're very adamant on starting this guy. So they're seeing something that we haven't. And based off what we've seen, I think he's good enough. I think he's decent enough. I think, it's a good change for the Niners, because really, I mean, even though Jimmy G is not the best quarterback throughout the season, but going over the stats, I think from week 10 to week 18, like, Jimmy Garoppolo is like top 3 in yards per throw and QBR and things like that, and one of those like accuracy stats, like from week 10 to week 18. So really, with Jimmy Garoppolo, he just makes the right plays when they need to happen, but the team relatively keeps them in the game. So Trey Lance, really all he has to do is just manage the game starting off, come up slowly, just adjust to the offense. And then don't try to be a hero. You know, just do what you can. Don't try to overwork yourself, and then trust the guys around you, because it's clear enough that the team is good enough to at least get to a conference championship game. All it takes is for Trey Lance just not to mess it up, and that's what I think so far. So, Lamb, what you think?
Man, I agree. I feel like we're a new look though, man. I feel like it's really gonna be a new look offense because of the things that Trey Lance can do, as far as, you know what I mean, stretching plays and, you know what I mean, running, using his legs as an option. Something that you really didn't see Jimmy Garoppolo do. And I say one thing about this about the NFC Championship game. I think if I mean it's inevitable that Jimmy G throws a pick. Like it's gonna happen. I think if he did it earlier in the game, we probably would have been in the Super Bowl. But whatever. I mean, like I said earlier with Debo, I think it's a situation where he's strictly a wide receiver this year. But I mean, we lost some pieces in the backfield. Namely, my favorite out of everybody that we had was Raheem Mostert. He's with the Dolphins now. Ain't gonna lie, that kind of hurt me. But I mean, he was pretty much injured all last year. I mean, I was just waiting for him to come back this year, and then everything happened now here in Miami. So, I mean, it is what it is. But like you said earlier, Kyle Shanahan pretty much knows how to get the best out of his players, especially the running backs.
What about you?
In the words of Louis Riddick, I think it's Louis Riddick. They signed Deebo Samuels. Good. Now trade Jimmy Garoppolo to Seattle. Get him out of here. Start the team with the new QB and move on.
Yeah.
So you don't think that they should keep Jimmy Garoppolo as insurance? What if Trey Lance isn't ready yet, and you still got Jimmy G right there? You don't think that's a good scenario to be in?
How long has Trey Lance been in that system for? How many years? 2 years?
I think 2 years. 2 years now.
This can be year 2.
Yeah, this is gonna be year 2. He's ready. Like you had that year to sit back and watch. They put you in some games. You should have been studying your playbook to know all the verbiage and everything like that. You should be able to run the team now. That's like with any sports. Like if we played in, or I was in a marching band. Your first year for college, for high school, I knew all my music. For college, now you gotta learn a whole new book of music. My first year, it was kind of shaky. I was like, all right, bet y'all got it. I'm a freshman. I'm not gonna know anything. But my sophomore year, I knew every music and I was killing it. So that's how it should be for him. Your first year, you got a taste of it. You played some games. Your second year, you should know everything. You should know that playbook from front to back. The only thing you need to do the only thing you need to do now is to, learn the new plays that they're gonna add to the book. Okay. He should be good. He better be good. Shit.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, you got it.
I hope so.
Yeah, man. Like, for all that hype they put in around him, like, yo, and they seen sparks. They say they love him, but now put him in.
No, for sure. And they did give a five draft picks for him? Yeah. So that's how it is, man. When they trade up for you like that, and especially with a position like that, and you had a year, yeah, man. They not playing around with that. They that's the Patrick Mahomes effect. You get that 1 year.
Yeah,
you better be good. You better be good to go.
Yeah, like you said, like there's no reason for him not to be good. Like he should be killing it the first couple of games, and then it slows down and he picks right back up again.
All right. So coming in at number 10, and this is still like could be a contender. So coming in at number 10 is the Cleveland Browns. Honestly, I mean they're a good team, but I don't got them going really that far. Even with Deshaun Watson, I mean Deshaun Watson, he's going to be facing some disciplinary action tomorrow. It may or may not be the whole season. I see him being suspended at least for the entirety of his first season with the Browns. But I just see the Browns being competitive, man. I don't really see them going even really being a wild card team this year. So to have them at number 10 is a little bit crazy to me. But what do you guys think on that? You could tap in first on this one.
Me?
Yeah.
Is it? Ain't no way in hell they making no playoffs. That boy, ain't no way. I don't know who decided to even put them at number 10. Like, really? off his reputation from before. Like, dude is in a whole new system, a whole new team. He's gonna have to get used to it. He doesn't like the cold weather. Even if he was able to play the whole season, I don't see them making the playoff their first whole year.
Yeah, I agree. What you think, Lamb?
I just saw something just now that basically the league is looking at giving him a 12-game suspension. His camp is trying to get it down to like 6 to 8 games, but they're looking at fining him as well. But I mean, he's definitely not gonna get a full season in. So I mean, I don't know who they got that's supposed to be the starter in his absence, but they definitely not making a play.
I think they got Josh Rosen, if I'm not mistaken.
I thought it was Jacoby.
They do got Jacoby Brissett, but no. they on the couch.
you know what's the funny thing, the crazy thing about Jacoby, that Bill Belichick wanted him as their
starting QB
over Jimmy. He didn't really want to give up him. He rather had given up Jimmy, but I forgot what was the reason, but he ended up giving him up anyway.
Yeah, I do remember that. I remember that.
You know what? It might have been Tom Brady. Remember, he wanted Jimmy G traded too.
yeah. I think it was that whole moment with Tom, Jimmy, and Jacoby or something. And it was like, nah, we couldn't keep him, and they liked Jimmy, but something about Jimmy they kept, and they got rid of Jacoby, but he didn't want to get rid of Jacoby. I think it wasn't even his call. It probably was the owner's call. It was like, nah, we're gonna keep Jimmy.
I got you. So coming in at number 11 is the Baltimore Ravens. This is another coin toss team. Ravens, they're a good competitive team. Like Ravens, I think any team that goes against the Ravens, they gotta look at the Ravens as a team that you can't trifle with them. Whenever they're healthy, whenever they're good to go. And that's always a tough, gritty football game when you're playing the Baltimore Ravens. I don't really got too much to say on it besides the fact that, Lamar is going to probably try to go into this season and try to improve himself. He's going through a little contract situation with the Ravens. There's a lot to tap into that, but I'm going to let you guys, give you an insight on what you guys think about this whole Ravens situation and their chances on winning the Super Bowl. So you can start on this one too.
Ravens. I don't know, man. That's a toss-up for me. Like, anything can happen with that team. But I do have faith in Lamar. I don't think... Is he going to have some struggle games? Yeah, but I don't think he's going to do too bad this year. I guess that they put this high expectation on him to where, I guess for his draft pick too, but I think they end up making the playoffs.
Okay. What about you, Lamb?
I don't think they end up making the playoffs. I think they got some work to do with putting pieces back around them, man. just rebuilding that team, beefing that team back up a bit, and they lost some pretty significant pieces that helped them get to the playoffs when they did get to the playoffs, like some of their better players. So I don't see them making the playoffs, man. You can never count out Lamar, but I mean he's not the only person on that team.
You're right.
Right. All right. So coming in at number 12, right? Is the Dallas Cowboys, quote unquote, America's team. Hey, I'm gonna keep it straight on this, man. I got this team going 3-14 this year, and those 3 wins. Those 3 wins is gonna be like one divisional game. They're gonna beat the Giants once, they're gonna beat the Eagles once, and they're gonna beat the Commanders once. Nah, in all serious though, I mean with the Cowboys, I mean they stretched thin. They lost some key players this year. They lost Amari Cooper for a 5th round pick. They lost their inside defensive lineman. I forgot he went to the Broncos. I forgot his name, but he was a really good addition to the team, and he's one of the main players that beefed up that defensive line. So they don't really have that same type of matchup as they did last year. But I mean, hey, they got Michael Parsons, who was potentially defensive player of the year. So there's a lot of upside in his career. Trayvon Diggs, he's a good corner, but I think people are still looking at him like, hey, even though you got those picks, you gave up a lot of yardage, on your position. So that's still something to look at. But with the Cowboys now that they're paying Dak so high, and with Ezekiel Elliott heading into the last year of his contract extension, and also now that you got CeeDee Lamb, who should be stepping up as the number 1 wide receiver, I mean, you could pretty much run this story with the Cowboys every year, but there's always like some level of expectation with the Cowboys. But this year, or even the next couple years or so, the Cowboys, they've had a good roster for a better part, the past couple years or so. I mean, it's no surprise that they're probably going to run away with this division. They don't really have a competitive division. The NFC East is always, flip-flopping around. It's never really one consistent division champion. But in this case, the Cowboys has kind of been running away with it. So, but I don't see them winning no Super Bowl. Not I have to see it to believe it. And honestly, with the Cowboys winning the Super Bowl, they're in the same book as the Browns in my book. I haven't seen them win nothing in my lifetime. With all these players that they had, they still couldn't win a playoff game. So I'm coming at Cowboys fans' neck, man. If y'all Cowboys fan, hop on the stream, let me know what's going on. Where do y'all think y'all going? So, because I'm telling y'all ain't going anywhere. So let me know what y'all think. Lamb, you can go first on this one.
Every Cowboy fan think they going to the Super Bowl. They going to the couch, man. That's good as it's gonna get. The Cowboys going they show real good. They on paper they look phenomenal. But when they get out there on the field, you don't see it. It don't show. Yeah. It does not show. So I mean, the division is always a toss up. Yeah. The division is always a toss up. I just hope that Dak Prescott does not let Carson Wentz show him up this year. I say that. I say that.
All right. What about you, Unc?
Usually every year when before the Cowboys start their season, I'll look at their team and say to myself, damn, this team might do some damage this year. But from last year and looking into this year, like you said, I feel like I might agree with you. They might go 3-12 or 3 and whatever. Like I just I'm not saying it because I'm a Giants fan. I'm just not feeling that team this year. Like some teams, be like, damn, they might do some work, they might do some damage. It might be a tough divisional game, but with them, I just don't see it happening. I don't think it's the right coach. Jerry Jones needs to apologize to what's this guy name? Their old coach that won him the Jimmy Johnson.
Jimmy Johnson.
He needs to apologize to him, make amends, and step away and let someone else run that team. Because this year, this is like my first year. I'm like, yeah, I don't see. There's no fear in the Cowboys.
And you know what? It's interesting that you did bring up that point. Because I think the biggest question is with the Cowboys, it really is coaching. I think that's the biggest question with them. That I think they were first in the league with penalties, and that falls on coaching, man. And, people are even starting to ask, like, what does McCarthy do on the team? Because he doesn't call plays, he doesn't run the defense. So people are really looking at Mike McCarthy and like, yo, what do you actually do for the team? So. But if the Cowboys, don't do something this year, because they do have a really good roster. If they don't do anything this year, I think, Mike McCarthy's going to be the first name popping up on everybody's list. Like, yo, you're just not getting it done. But the biggest question is, is Jerry Jones going to be, savvy enough to let go of Mike McCarthy and give power to somebody, who's more likely deserving of it, and then can bring the Cowboys to the promised land. But we've yet to see that. So,
what's their offensive coordinator name?
Kellen Moore.
Kellen Moore.
Yeah,
he's gonna end up being their
head coach
by the end of the year, man.
Oh man.
And I'm gonna be honest with you. I think it really should have been that before they got Mike McCarthy. But I mean, it is what it is. I mean, Mike McCarthy, like you said, like, what does he do for the team? Like, I mean, it's like being on gate watch when we was in the Navy. Like, you're a show of presence. Yeah, you just showing presence, basically. That's the first deterrence right there.
Yeah, Mike McCarthy.
Mike McCarthy. He was a dangerous head coach when he was coaching the Packers, bro. Like, this was like 5 years ago, bro. Like,
yeah, and you know what it is with Mike McCarthy? It's like this. Mike McCarthy's that guy that gets an A in the group project but doesn't contribute anything. But then when it comes time for to be tested orally, like to be like, oh, what's this going on? I feel like he bombs that test every time. Because.
The thing about the Cowboys too, they let their prime years go to waste. You had the best O-line in the NFL. You didn't do nothing.
And Dak Prescott was being, he was being paid very, very low.
He had he had that O-line. And you still wasn't able to do it. And do you know how? Because you know how hard it is to build an O-line like that. Like to have them from man.
They all beasts on that line, bro.
Yeah, that whole O-line could have made it was a Pro Bowl O-line.
Literally.
No, agree. Yeah, they did have they did have the best line for quite some time.
For a couple of years.
Yeah, they had the best O-line for 5 years straight.
No, for sure. So coming in at 13 is the Philadelphia Eagles, right? So it's one of those teams. Honestly, last year, like Eagles, they deserve a lot of credit, man. The Eagles were slept on the entirety of the season. And then for them to make the playoffs last year, I think that was really something to show, for at least on Jalen Hurts' side. Obviously he's not like the main factor or the main contributor as to how they win games, but and there's still a lot of question as it comes to his play style and being able to be that quarterback for this team. But at the end of the day, when you're not when your play is not up there as a QB, you can make up for a lot of ways in terms of game management. You can even be the leader. And I see Jalen Hurts as being that leader. But, at the end of the day, you still got to be able to play. You still got to be able to beat the best. And to be able to beat the best, you got to play the best. And Jalen Hurts' best is very questionable, especially when you in the NFC and you playing guys like Tom Brady and Matthew Stafford in your conference. Not to mention those defenses also. So, Eagles, they have a good all-around team. They do got some dogs on there. And they have like a really good defensive line too. That's something that shouldn't be slipped on. Like, Eagles have always had like a really decent defensive line, if I'm not mistaken. So, what you think about the Eagles?
Oh, this is what Jalen Hurts, third year, second year?
I think it's like his second or third year.
It's third.
It's third.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He better prove something, because you had your first year. Mm-hmm. Your first year is trash. Mm-hmm. Your second year, you should know your playbook. You should have been doing decent. And I think he did a little bit. He did a little bit better. But this year, he needs to be making the playoffs. If he don't, I don't think he's the man.
Lamb?
Man, they got some nice additions, man. They beefed up their defensive line with a few players, and then I think they drafted pretty well. Their wide receiver core, they got Devontae Smith, and they got AJ Brown too, right? From the Titans.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. He got weapons, man, and he got a pretty tight defense to back him up, man. So I don't see why. It will be really on Jalen Hurts at this point. And they got a decent running game too, if I'm not mistaken. So it's just putting it together, man. It's just putting it together, man. Jalen Hurts gotta do his part.
No, agreed. All right, so coming in at 14, let's try to run through it a little bit quicker. So, Arizona Cardinals. Honestly, I don't see why. I understand why they got lower on this list. They did lose Chandler Jones, Christian Kirk. Chandler Jones was a big loss. Because I think one year he led the league in sacks, if I'm not mistaken, 1 year. So,
and then there was year before last, if I'm not mistaken.
And then in Kyler Murray, he just got his big deal. So, Cardinals inked in their franchise QB for the next couple years or so. But with Kyler Murray, man, I think there's a lot of questions as to how far this team can go with Kyler Murray. At the end of the day, Kyler Murray makes this team competitive. He's able to get the Cardinals on in big games. Monday night games, Thursday night games. Like, for the most part, we really wouldn't be talking about the Cardinals like that unless they had somebody like Kyler Murray, at the QB position. But even though the DeAndre Hopkins, he missed out on a good portion of the year, but when he was playing with Kyler Murray was still putting up MVP numbers in the first half of the season. Biggest thing with the Cardinals, though, is second half of the season, they have a reputation of starting to crumble up, during the second half. And it's happened, the past couple years now. So, either Kyler Murray inked in his deal. So Kyler Murray isn't going anywhere. So right now, even though we can look at Kyler and be like, look, man, you got to be a leader. You got to step up. You got to play better in the game, because let's be honest, in that game against the Rams, he was poo-poo. He was poo-poo doo-doo in that game. I'm not going to hold you. But, when you can't fire the QB, so who are they going to look at? Cliff Kingsbury. So there's already been questions with Cliff Kingsbury, in the media saying, how did he get this job? Did he deserve this job? And the thing about it is, too, when there was all these questions about whether they should pay Kyler Murray, the Cardinals paid Cliff Kingsbury first before they played Kyler Murray, which I find crazy to me, So, what you think about the Cardinals?
The Cardinals last year, I'm gonna be honest with you, I ain't really see how their season went. I ain't see that coming, especially like the beginning of the year. I really didn't see it coming, even though they really had some good players, man. I just didn't see them putting it together the way they did. But I mean, this year, I mean, man, they lost like half of their wide receiving core. Chandler Jones on the defensive side, man. They still got JJ Watt, which is still, you know what I mean, somebody you gotta plan for. D Hop. They got Hollywood Brown, which, I mean, in my opinion, but man, I don't know, man. That's a coin flip.
What you think? What you think? All right, you still there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was asking you about the Cardinals.
Cardinals. I don't see them making the playoffs. Team still got to grow. It's still a young team, and that whole contract, his contract details, kind of funny. That was kind of weird. But yeah, I think this year they're gonna have a lot of ups and downs. With especially with everything that happened with their contract situation. With all that being said, I feel like it's gonna be a lot of ups and downs.
No, I agree. I feel like, you know, that whole contract stimulation, I think it caused like a small little rift, you know, in that relationship between Cliff Kingsbury and Kyler Murray, because everybody's looking at that situation like, where did that come from? You know, so there's a lot of ways how that can, you know, how that went about, but we could definitely agree it didn't go down the right way, you know, so it is what it is. So coming in at 15, and I don't plan on talking about this team for too long, is the Indianapolis Colts. So they just picked up Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan, you could say, is in the declining part of his career. You know, because typically if you're leaving, you know, your team that you got drafted by, you could kind of sense the direction of where your career is headed. But I still think there's a lot of play left in Matt Ryan. I think with a good line, in a decent receiving core, and you know the Colts have a decent, you know, they have a good line. They do have, you know, a very good line. They had one of the best offensive lines in the league for the past couple years, especially with Quentin Nelson leading that stretch. So and they, you know, it's sad to say, because when Andrew Luck was playing for the team, they just beefed up their offensive line. I think it was like after their last year. So I mean, that was what you think about the Colts?
They'll have a decent season. They won't, but they won't make the playoffs. Matt Ryan might be a good look for them. You never know. Like, especially if that O-line is protecting him, he might do all right. Because definitely when he was in Atlanta, he was getting hit a lot, and it was starting to worry me a bit. But if the Colts can protect them, I could see them being a winning season team, but they won't make the playoffs.
I mean, and let's not forget about Jonathan Taylor too. He was a dog last year, and coming from the backfield.
Yeah.
You know, because really, you know, with Matt Ryan, Matt Ryan is an experienced veteran QB, and he's a very big improvement of Carson Wentz. I think we can agree to that, but I think Matt Ryan benefits a lot having that in his backfield with the addition of the line. So we'll see, because the Colts had a collapse last year, but I think coming into this year, I think they're going to try to make a better statement, or try to end off the season way better than how it did last year. All right, so coming in at,
I agree. Go ahead.
Got something?
Go ahead.
Okay.
Nah, I was gonna say I see him sneaking in. I see him sneaking into the playoffs.
Okay. Yeah. Just off that Matt Ryan, like I still have faith in him.
Yeah.
I wish the Giants picked him up.
For real, something.
All right. So coming in at 16 is the Las Vegas Raiders. I think they're a bit low on this list. I think they have just as good as enough chance as any other team in the AFC West. I like Derek Carr. I think he's a franchise quarterback. I think you can win with him. It just entirely depends on the system and the foundation of the team, how they're looking at a particular time of the year and the season. And they have a really good defense too. So at least on their in the front. But can I see them going to the playoffs and making a Super Bowl? Probably more than likely not. But playoffs, I still have it as a coin toss though too, because just strictly off that division alone, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for the Raiders to to get through, and I could probably see them having 9-8, a 9-8 season, or 7-10. You might not know. It could really be up in the air. So Lamb, what you think about the Raiders on this one?
I see them as a good team, man. It's gonna come down to coaching, and I mean, if they're in a tough division, man. So I mean, if they do, I mean, this will be like one of them divisions that might have 3 teams in the playoffs.
Yeah, them. I think they're too low. They should have been a little higher. Carr's a sleeper. Him having Devontae Adams, I think, will it make a big difference? I don't, because they haven't played with each other since college. So, and then now they're finally playing with each other in the NFL. It might be a little shaky in the beginning, but I think they might be able to pull it off, do some things, make some noise.
Okay. All right, so coming in at 17 is the Tennessee Titans. So they're a playoff team. I'll leave it at that. I think they're worthy enough to make it to the playoffs, but I think they're a little stretch of, winning the division, winning the conference. I think it might be running thin. Each year they have Ryan Tannehill as their quarterback. Their Super Bowl window gets smaller and smaller. That's the way I look at it, because Ryan Tannehill is just not that guy. Let's be honest. They made a mistake in paying this guy at least the amount that they paid him for. I just don't see him as the guy leading the stretch. I mean, we saw it in that last game. He was awful, and even with Derrick Henry, right? Derrick Henry is a monster. I don't think anybody would disagree on Derrick Henry's contribution to this offense. Like, when Derrick Henry's rolling, he's rolling. He's probably the best running back we've seen since Adrian Peterson, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I'd probably go with that.
I don't really. You said you think they'll make the playoffs?
I said they have a slim chance of making the playoffs. But I said they have a slim chance of making the playoffs, but I think it's going to be tougher than how it was the past couple years. Yeah.
Definitely going to be tougher.
I think they'll find a way to stop Derrick Henry this year.
How you do that? I think teams are still trying to find that out. Go for the knees?
Because this would be his 3rd year attempting this, attempting to go for that crown. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think he'll put. I think the workload is too much. I think his workload might get cut back some. If it does, he'll actually do some real good damage. But if they fully dependent on him, it is not gonna work.
Okay.
Nah, they cannot depend on one person to carry a team like that. Nah, I mean, I think Vrabel's a great coach, but I don't think he could just depend on one person. I mean, if you could, it would have to be the quarterback. You know what I mean, and that's a top tier quarterback. which Ryan Tannehill is not.
Yeah.
So I mean, man, I don't know what their wide receiver core look like, but
it's not better than last year. I'll tell you that.
Nah, it's definitely not. Derrick Henry, their best player.
Yeah.
And if you got like you said, man, if you gotta depend on him solely, nah, it ain't gonna work. It ain't gonna work. I mean, he gonna have to. I mean, I think he might be able to get if they don't have to solely depend on him, he might be able to get 2,000, or at least like 1,800 all-purpose yards. I say that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, that's good as it's gonna get. I don't like you said, slim chance of making the playoffs though.
Okay. All right. So number 18, the New England Patriots. Honestly, I feel really good that the Patriots are number 18 on this list. I think this is the best spot. You know, this team it could have been. But
a little lower.
Yeah, they you know, I think you know, fine spot is maybe like 20, 25. I think the Cowboys should be right there next to them, you know, like maybe one under. But with the Patriots though, honestly, this is gonna be a very interesting year for the Patriots. I mean, Bill Belichick is already gotten a lot of heat with this situation with Tom Brady, and I don't know if you guys read the book that came out on the Patriots dynasty, on just that whole thing, what was going on, and when they were winning championships. Like, Bill is a really tough guy to play for, you know, and he likes his way, you know. And there's a lot of question as to who's calling plays, who's the offense and defensive coordinator. Like, he's bringing guys back like Matt Patricia and Joe Judge to be running those teams. So we're gonna have to see and find out about, you know, how that's gonna go. But the biggest question with this team is with Mac Jones. Is Mac Jones the QB, the next QB for this franchise? And I think that question is still up in the air. You know, what do you guys think about the Patriots? And I don't see them making the playoffs, by the way.
Mac Jones, oh boy, it's still a if, man. If at best he might be like a as right now, I think he might be like a good bridge quarterback. I mean, but he did some pretty good stuff last year. I mean, he did show pretty well last year. As far as the rest of their team, I don't know. No playoffs for me.
Yeah, no playoffs for me. But he did do some things last year to make you say, "Oh, okay." If you keep it up, you might be another big QB, but not right now. He's still I think he's still trying to find that. He's still learning the Patriot way. Like, just like how Tom Brady in the beginning, Tom Brady was in Tom Brady his first 2-3 years. It was the defense, but lately with Bill Belichick, nothing's been clicking.
Literally.
And so I don't know if it's the talent or I don't know, but I think he needs to start spending some money.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, because that's kind of what the Patriots been doing under the Tom Brady era. You know, they were using Tom Brady's contract as leverage. You know, when you got Tom Brady and Tom Brady's taking pay cuts, I mean, that's the ultimate leverage when you bring it up salary cap. You're like, hey, my star guy over here is getting paid this. You think you deserve more than him? And you know what I'm saying? Like, it's either you get with the program or hey, you roll on somewhere else. So, but you know, clearly the Patriots are not in that situation anymore. So, yeah, Bill Belichick's gonna have to spend some dollars on either defense or putting some players around this guy. Make sure, you know, they can even have a chance to compete, because going against the Bills, and then not to mention the next team who's going to be on this list is the Dolphins. So they definitely they don't have this division anymore, and they have a lot of work ahead of them when it comes to being able to compete in the AFC. So coming in next, I think that's 19 is the Miami Dolphins. I think this has probably been one of the most talked about teams in the offseason. Is Tua, and by the way, another Alabama QB who's in question on whether they're gonna have a career in this league or not. So Tua is clearly the biggest question mark on this team. I don't think so much as his accuracy comes into question, but I think a lot of it is arm strength. I believe is what people have been talking about. But Dolphins, man, they all in. They have really no option to. They drafted the guy. And they got Jalen Waddle. They obviously got Tyreek Hill. They got Raheem Mostert. And they beefed up their offensive line. So Dolphins, they could potentially be one of those sneaky teams to creep into the playoffs, but I don't see them winning the Super Bowl. What's your take on the Dolphins?
Tua, the most accurate quarterback. They make the playoffs.
You said he's the most accurate quarterback?
Hey, that's what Cheetah said.
Hey.
So I don't know. Like will they even have a winning season? It might be a slim chance, but not making the playoffs. Do I see Tua as the franchise QB? I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I feel like some of these guys are still they got drafted premature or thrown in to the starting lineup too early. Like honestly, I'm one of those that if you get drafted, your franchise quarterback, first round, whatever, you gotta sit out those two, unless you're like a Andrew Luck, like one of those few QBs. Like you sit out those 2 years. Get comfortable, have them put you in certain plays or the ending of games. Make sure you're comfortable, because your first year trying to do that, it like your first year is gonna be hard. So every year you're gonna think about the year before and how you struggle, or you might fall back into it, instead of just learning those 2 years and just, I got all this. All it is up to me.
Yeah, I got you. Anything else to add, Lamb? Or you good on the Dolphins for a little bit?
First year head coach, Mike McDaniel. I mean, it's gonna take some time for that team to gel. I mean, if they've been working, I'd probably say about 4 or 5 games, you really gonna start to see everything coming together. But I think it's gonna take a little bit of time before you really start seeing the team really as a team. I'd say that.
No, I don't. I agree.
But
hey,
maybe sneaking into the playoffs.
It's a very big maybe. And you know what? I think this needs to be put out there too. Also, Justin Herbert could have potentially been a Miami Dolphin. If people might not know, there was a situation with Brian Flores when he was the head coach. He actually wanted to draft Justin Herbert over Tua.
Oh yeah.
But it was, I think it was management that was like, no, we want to take Tua. And I mean, we kind of see what's going on now with Herbert, and the Dolphins could have been a very dangerous. Imagine the Dolphins now with Justin Herbert.
With Justin Herbert,
boy.
Jesus.
Boy.
I mean, we really would be talking Super Bowl.
Yeah.
We really would be talking Super Bowl. It really wouldn't be the quarterback issue, conversation. It would be, hey man, this would be like a Super Bowl or bust type conversation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah.
For sure. All right, so I think we're getting a bit lower on this list, so we can probably go a little bit quicker on some of these teams. So coming in at number 20 is the New Orleans Saints. I don't really see them really going too deep. Really going anywhere. I think they're trying to kind of pick up the crumbs of what was left behind from Sean Payton. And it's looking like Jameis Winston is going to be coming back. I think this is going to be another bounce back year. I think Jameis Winston was having a decent enough season, and I think him just being on that team, keeps the Saints competitive. They still the Saints, even though they haven't, they're not known through their franchise for having good defense, but this defense for the Saints, man, they just know how to give Tom Brady problems in that division. So I see them being a hard team to beat, but I don't see them really going, stretching thin. But hey, you never know. The Saints could be, one of those teams to really sneak into the playoffs. What y'all think?
I think they make the playoffs and go home in the divisional round.
Agree. Yeah.
I mean, Jameis Winston is gonna get them receivers the ball, dog.
Yeah,
that's just point of the period.
Yep.
He's gonna get them the ball, dog. He's really that guy. He's a baller. He's a baller, man.
Yeah.
And you know what? Let's not forget about some of these guys too on that offense. Michael Thomas, even though he missed a better part of the season, and Alvin Kamara, hopefully he gets his off the field thing straight away. But Jameis Winston still got his got some weapons, and Alvin Kamara catching a pass from the backfield, I wouldn't rule that out, man. That's a dangerous man in open field. Very hard guy to tackle when you got the ball on that screen.
Very hard.
Unc, was you trying to say something?
No, go ahead.
Okay. All right. So coming in at 21, Pittsburgh Steelers. This one's gonna be a hard one for me. I mean, the Steelers are always they're always competitive when it comes to every year with Mike Tomlin as a coach, but I think we're seeing a very depleted Steelers team. I mean, they're always competitive. They're always a team to beat, but it's just when you don't have a short thing at quarterback, it just makes everything a lot more difficult for you to really have a playoff stretch that you're looking for. Like defense and running game can sometimes only get you so far. But I seen the stat recently that Steelers, when they play against starting QBs in the playoffs, they have a losing record against starting QBs in the playoffs. So that's something I think that should be pointed out too, especially since they don't Ben Roethlisberger, even though he was on his down years. That was Ben Roethlisberger was a very big part in those championship runs. So what's your guys' take on the Steelers?
I feel like I think the Steelers, they haven't had a losing season yet, right?
No, not under Mike Tomlin. No, worst season they had was 8-8.
And honestly, I think this year they might struggle because with especially old boy Death, I forgot his name.
Who? What position does he play?
Quarterback.
Oh, Mitchell Trubisky.
No, the black quarterback.
Deshaun. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah,
the guy that passed.
And then it was supposed to have been a competition between him, Rudolph. Mason Rudolph, and who else?
Kenny Pickett too, because they drafted the QB this year.
Yeah, so it was like before old boy passed away, I thought they had maybe a chance. And now with those other two, nah, I have no faith in the Steelers. They're gonna struggle with their quarterback. And is this gonna be probably Mike Tomlin's first losing season?
Yeah, there ain't no doubt about that, man. I mean, I think Mitch Trubisky, he starts the season by week 4, he getting benched for Kenny Pickett, and 3 or 4 games he gonna get benched. And what I mean, it's just gonna be they're just gonna be swapping seats basically.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, maybe they get Garoppolo during the season. They take a trade for Garoppolo and he come in and learn the system and he their quarterback going forward. But that's a big maybe.
Okay. All right, so coming in at number 22 is the Minnesota Vikings. Another team stuck in limbo. I mean, you know what's crazy about the Vikings? Every year, I feel like they have a good or decent enough roster. Like they're good enough to compete. Like I think, the Packers. Every year, they always have like a couple games, or they have a game or two where they have trouble with the Vikings. Because I believe last year that they lost to the Vikings late in the year. And that boy Justin Jefferson, man, he's putting up some Odell Beckham Jr. numbers in his first 2-3 seasons in the league. He's showing himself like, he's a receiver that's in the making. Like Justin Jefferson has been playing, if not a top 5 wide receiver, at least a top 10 wide receiver in this past couple of years. I think he's just kind of flown under the radar simply because of the fact that he plays for a market like the Vikings. But I don't really see the Vikings going anywhere, even though Kirk Cousins is he's a good quarterback, but he's like, the way I look at Kirk Cousins, he's like in that middle echelons of quarterbacks. Like he's almost like an Eli Manning, like a Tony Romo. Like he could hold
on, nephew. Don't be disrespecting Eli like that. He's a 2-time Super Bowl champion, my guy.
I'm just talking about those season performances, because you already know Eli Manning be doing some dumb stuff during the regular season. You know what I mean? So, like, I ain't talking about playoff. Playoff Eli is legendary. But the regular season Eli, you already know that man was giving you migraines. That man was giving you migraines every day. You had to see your therapist after a Giants game. So but yeah, man, I just see Kirk Cousins is just kind of like that, that middle of the pack quarterback. Like he's good enough to keep you in the ball game, but not good enough to really beat those certain teams that he really needs to beat. Like Kirk Cousins has a very big reputation of not being good enough when it really comes down to it, and that's just kind of how it's been going, and I think that's how it's gonna keep going. So what's y'all take on that one?
Vikings win the North this year.
Yeah. I think they could pull it off. Honestly, I think Zimmer being I think he took the L for that team, because it was players just effing up the whole year last year. I don't think he should have been fired, because he's a decent coach to me. But someone had to take the blame. But I can see them doing some damage.
Okay. All right, so I don't really see these teams making the playoffs. So I mean, but we could kind of just run through it. So with the Washington Commanders, I mean, they got Carson Wentz. He's the biggest question on this team. How do you guys think Carson Wentz's season is gonna fall out? Because really, this is like his last year, or this is really like his make or break year. If Carson Wentz can't prove to be somewhat of a as a somewhat of a franchise quarterback in what he's shown on the Eagles, he might not have a career as a starter for much longer. What do you guys think about Carson Wentz? Do you think this is a make or break season for him? Do you think he's able to revive his career after that last year's season plunder?
Oh man, Carson Wentz is I mean, even if he does prove himself, I think he'll always be a question mark, man. But I think the Commanders, I think their fans really like Heineken, and I think once he develops, I think he'll be the starter. So okay. I mean, I don't. Oh man, Wentz though, it's hard for me to see him as a starting quarterback for any team.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because for me, Wentz, he would have to do good his next 2 to 3 years to believe in him again.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just don't see that happening. Especially that I don't care how bad the NFC East can be. It's still one of those tough divisions to where, like, yo, you gotta win those divisional games to actually make the playoffs.
Yeah,
and I don't know if he's ready for those divisional games. Even when he was with the Eagles.
I mean, even if he developed into a Alex Smith type quarterback, like a game managing type quarterback, I still don't see him starting, man.
Actually, yeah, they could more than likely they could probably be third in this division. I mean, I think we have a good idea who might come in fourth, but let's not talk about that. I don't want to break my heart just yet. Detroit.
Go ahead.
No. Say what you gotta say.
No. I was about to say something about the Giants, but go ahead.
I got you. So Detroit Lions. I mean, Detroit Lions haven't did anything since I've been born. I don't know. You know what I mean? The most I've heard about the Lions is either Calvin Johnson or Barry Sanders. That's the most I know about this organization. I mean, you had Matthew Stafford ready to pack his bags and run from that franchise the moment he can get out of there. You know, so Detroit Lions are not really associated with winning. But I mean, hey, they've still managed to give a lot of teams some work, in these games. Like they had a losing season, but they could have quickly turned it around in some of those games and could have had like a 9-8, or a 7-10, or even a 10-7 season. You might not know, but it's with the Lions. It's a lot. It's still a rebuild team. They've been rebuilding for the past 20 years or so. So I don't see really much coming from this team.
Yeah, I don't really see anything too much going on with them myself.
17 games, 4-13.
There you have it.
And that's a stretch.
Yeah. All right. So 25 is a New York Jets. I mean, who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
Who knows? They beat up a little bit, man. I think they'll be a little better, just a little bit better than last year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Zach Wilson, you're gonna have to step it up though.
Yeah, you know what though? Based off Zach Wilson's first year, I think you can always give rookie quarterback, that blanket, with that season. I think that's the season where you could really do anything. You could be the worst quarterback ever, that entire league. But it's always that sophomore year that's gonna take you over the top. Like you can make all these mistakes now in your rookie year. They'll let you throw 50 times a game, throw 3 picks, 4 picks. I mean, we've seen it with Trevor Lawrence, but I mean with Zach Wilson, this is his sophomore year, so we gotta see. We gotta see. But I think with a good enough line, at least if he had a good or decent enough line, I think he can, be a problem. I think he can be a good QB in this league. I've seen him have some wheels. I think he still needs to kind of work on, on reads and getting his guys the ball, and getting the ball throwing the ball out the pocket as quickly as possible. But I mean, with the Jets, is really still, in a rebuilding mode. We're still trying to expect something from the Jets since the 60s.
Literally.
Like Zach Wilson, all he has to do is just be just as good as Mark Sanchez.
Oh man.
Jesus Christ.
Oh my God.
We already know how that story went with Mark Sanchez. So hey, all right. So next one now is the Giants. Boy, oh boy. So we got some work to do on this team, man. I'm not gonna hold it. Honestly, you see how they have the Giants right above rebuilding? Honestly, bump them up. They should have bumped them down to rebuilding, because I don't know what this is. Daniel Jones is not it. He's not our quarterback. The coach, I'm pretty sure he's not our coach. I'm gonna just say this now. Brian DeBoer, he's gonna get fired within 2 years. I'm gonna just say that now. The Kenny Galloway contract signing, horrible. 0 touchdowns this year. Get him out of here. You know what I mean? The offensive line, we've never addressed the offensive line like that. Like, it's been horrible for the past 3, 4, 5 years. I don't even remember the last time we've had a good line. Like, since Eli was playing, we've had a bad line. When's the last time we've really addressed that? And that's a long time, man. Since Eli's been playing, we've known this already. David Gettleman destroyed this franchise. We let go of OBJ for really relatively nothing when he still had some play in him. Like the Saquon Barkley draft selection.
You can't forget Eric Flowers.
Oh God, I don't even want to talk about that guy, man. I don't want to talk about Eric Flowers, man. But with the whole Saquon Barkley, man, like I don't want to poo-poo on this dude too much, because I think he's still a really good player, give or take, if he had a better line and if he played with a better quarterback who can throw from the backfield and probably throw him some screens. Like with Saquon Barkley, I see him more like a Alvin Kamara type player. You know what I mean? Like I think he's very versatile, but problem is, man, he just needs to stay healthy. And we just drafted him way too high. Like, we had the number 2 pick, and to draft the running back at that, that high, and looking back at it now, it wasn't worth it. And the Giants recently, we've done poorly. Actually, we've probably been one of the worst drafting teams in the NFL, if I'm not mistaken. What do y'all think?
I think Saquon needs somebody back there with him.
Mm-hmm.
I see Saquon as maybe he needs somebody maybe like a little bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe like a Ahmad Bradshaw, Brandon Jacobs type combo.
So like a 1-2 punch combo.
Like a 1-2 punch combo.
Just about to say that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I see him doing most damage like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he can't catch out of the backfield. I think Daniel Jones showed a little promise this year, though. Man, I'm gonna be honest with you.
I hope so.
I think he showed a little promise this year, man.
Okay.
The ball, I think he does decent as a head coach.
Okay. What you think?
Like you said, the running game for Giants, it needs to go back to like that Earth, Wind, and Fire feel. Ahmad Bradshaw, Ward, and Jacobs. They need to go back to something like that. I'm patiently waiting for the next Manning to come out of college to get drafted to the Giants. Because that's the only way I'll be happy. But if I'm a little impressed with Daniel Jones a little bit, because that running play that he did and he tripped over his own foot.
Yeah,
where he was that's something you don't see, that I haven't seen in any Giants QB do in years. And for him to be able to do some of those things, like he knows when to run, like they need to focus on that. Like have him do those plays. Like I think his first 2 years were just uncomfortable. It was just terrible for him. Like Giants, just like with Eli, the Giants didn't do Eli. Like they didn't put enough around him. They should have did more. And that's the same thing they're gonna do with Daniel Jones. If he was that good, don't let his talents go to waste. Because I guarantee you, if he goes to another team, he's gonna do great things.
Okay. Well, I completely disagree with you, but I have no hopes for Daniel Jones, man. He needs to get out of here, boy.
But remember, our O-line is trash too. Like he's like we're comparing Daniel Jones to a lot of the mobile quarterbacks, like the real mobile quarterback. He is mobile because he can run when he needs to, but we're looking at like he's a different quarterback. I'll say I'll put it, the records are not the same, but I'll put him in a class with Joe Burrows. If they had if they had two decent O-lines, I think those two will be monsters. But the fact that they don't really have a stable O-line, you don't really see the full potential. We knew that Daniel Jones would get stripped in those balls at times, but we also know that Daniel Jones can throw the ball.
Yeah.
Do we?
He's talking about too, man.
I from the games I've watched, Daniel Jones throwing the ball isn't too bad. It's just that the play calling wasn't right, the coaching wasn't right. It's all those factors come into play for quarterbacks, man.
Literally, all of them.
Yeah.
If it ain't right, you know what I mean?
It's not. Yo, just look at Joe Burrow, right? His first year, he did his thing, but then you know what they decided to do his second year? Get that receiver that he played with from LSU. And now he knows he's comfortable. Like, you're making the team comfortable for him. Now,
exactly.
All he needs is just one person from his old team. So now he knows what to do with him. Now he don't gotta worry about his number one wide receiver because he already know what he's gonna do. Now you focus on your second option, your third option, your fourth option, your running game. So it'll be a little easier because I'm telling you, I can see it happening. It's just are they gonna put the right pieces around?
So what you're telling me is you're saying the Giants need to draft a bunch of Duke wide receivers?
No. I think his receivers are okay, decent. Is that O-line that needs to get that has to get put together, and he has to stop turning the ball over like on strips. Like he gets stripped a lot.
yeah. I think if I'm not mistaken, he has like 50 touchdowns and like 49 turnovers.
He
has to get better on that. In order for this team to even have a chance, you gotta lower those turnovers, because even if he does get a better O-line, I mean, I'm just really concerned with his with him securing the ball, man, because you know in the playoffs, let's just say if the Giants do make the playoffs, right, and you're facing against teams that have beefed up O-line, that can cost you, man. His mistakes can really cost you in very crucial moments. So it's still something to worry about when it comes to him turning the ball over. That's really the biggest question, is him turning the ball over, and then at that point it's just like, how good can he really be? Can he really blossom into that QB that we think he can be, or the way David Gettleman talked him up to be? So, that's something to really look out for. But we'll see, because the NFC, we already know every year it's always up in the air. So, we're gonna have to find out. Coming up next is Jacksonville Jaguars. Nothing really much to expect from this team, except for Trevor Lawrence. I think Trevor Lawrence going into this, another player going into his sophomore year, a lot of pressure. I think Trevor Lawrence has probably been one of the most talked about prospects since Andrew Luck, as far as how good he could be in the league. And based off his rookie year, I didn't see no Andrew Luck. He was actually very far from Luck. He very far from Luck, because Andrew Luck was able to ball during his rookie year. Trevor Lawrence, I mean, he looks like he's in that same stratosphere as having that rookie adjustment. But let's what do you guys think?
If I said this name, y'all would be like, come on. But I'm gonna say it. Ryan Leaf, bro.
Oh my God.
Ryan
Leaf.
Ryan Leaf, bro.
Damn.
He's out of here, G.
Damn.
Yo, he's out of here.
Yeah. I completely agree with you. I don't see him lasting too long in this league.
So y'all got Trevor Lawrence being one of the most disappointing draft prospects in
Yeah, he didn't look comfortable from the beginning. Like from the get go, it didn't look like a fit for him.
And you know what though? I mean, based off what you guys said earlier with Trevor, with Daniel Jones, I mean, with the Jacksonville Jaguars, I mean, he was in a situation that was very toxic, with Urban Meyer essentially turning that franchise upside down. I mean, the Jaguars are still a team that's kind of rebuilding. So, I mean, where they could take them or where they could possibly go. I mean, it's a lot of questions, but all we know for sure is Trevor Lawrence has to be that guy in order for them to take him to, or to improve on the record that they had last year. But they recently just hired Doug Peterson, who was the head coach for the Eagles. So we'll see how they're looking this year.
They called Peterson the quarterback whisperer. But he gonna have to get in the game. He an old quarterback. He gonna have to get in the game, man.
Nah, for sure. Anything else, Unc? You got to say on the Jaguars?
Nah, no comment.
No. All right. So we almost done now, man. We had 28. We got the Houston Texans. Honestly, nothing much to say. I mean, what can you say?
Absolutely nothing. That's exactly what they're gonna do.
Yeah. So, that team got chopped up.
Yeah. For real. I'm gonna just leave it at that. There's really nothing much to really say on the Texans. Carolina Panthers. I mean, almost they deserve to be in this part of the list too. I mean, they're in QB competition, and their two guys fighting for the number one QB spot is Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield. I mean, if you're a Carolina Panthers fan, you really do not have anything to look forward to this season. I mean, if those are your two guys competing for the number one QB spot, I'm sorry, bro. You just hang it up. Just I don't know what more I can say. What do you guys say?
I mean, I say the Carolina Panthers really ain't had nothing to look forward to since since 89 left, bro.
Oh, you better than me. I was gonna say since Cam's Super Bowl run.
Like since Steve Smith left, bro. Like, hey man, to be honest, yeah.
Yeah.
I got you.
And they just got Baker Mayfield.
Trash.
Yeah. Nothing from the Panthers. Coming in at 30, Atlanta Falcons. Another one of these depleted teams, man. All we know is that they were in a bidding war for Deshaun Watson. Honestly, I think they lost the bag on this one. I think the Falcons should have been the most competitive team for Deshaun Watson. Even with everything going on with Deshaun Watson, they should have really went out their way to try to get this QB, because, I mean, if you really have no option at QB, like you don't have anybody to replace Matt Ryan, why give up Matt Ryan and not be aggressive to get Deshaun Watson? You get what I'm saying? Like it's not even like the Falcons. It's not like their line was pristine. It's not like, it's not like they had an all-around team. Like, really, for the most part, it's like, I don't know. The Falcons has just been really up and down. It's like one year they're in the Super Bowl, another year they're struggling to make the playoffs. It's weird. They were like one of those really weird managed teams in the league. What do you got to say?
I don't think Deshaun Watson would have went there anyway, man. I think he really would have. He really wanted to go to a team with solid pieces. That would be able to, get him to where he wanted to go. Basically, playoffs and Super Bowl, you know what I mean? So, I mean, I think I think for the options that he had, I think the Browns was the best option that he did. I mean, the Browns is like, on paper, they like the AFC version of the Cowboys. On paper, they team stacked. So I mean, would you rather have Deshaun Watson or Dak Prescott at that point? You know what I mean? So I mean, I think when it all boiled down to it, the Falcons really was never an option for Deshaun Watson. So I mean, who they got now? Marcus Mariota.
Yeah.
They sit in the house, man.
I was just about to ask. I was like, "Who's the quarterback?"
Yeah, Marcus Mariota.
15, G.
Yeah, 2-15. Tank season for a good pick.
Yeah, probably the number 1, number 2, number 3 pick, overall pick. All right, so
Definitely
number 31, Chicago Bears.
I think they should have been above the Falcons.
You think they're gonna be better? You think they should have been above the Falcons? They'll be a better chance.
I think they should have been above the Falcons and the
Panthers
and the Panthers, Jaguars, all of them. I don't think they worse than them teams, man. I definitely think they better than them teams. But Justin Fields, they got some work to do. I mean, I think their team as a whole really got work to do.
About you, Unc?
Yeah. I feel the same way. They should have been higher. I think it's a decent team, not a bad team. You've seen some sparks during the last season. I don't think they should have been that low. Maybe some people know maybe they lost some plays. I don't know, but I didn't hear nothing too much about the Bears.
Remember, they did lose Allen Robinson. Allen Robinson was their starting wide receiver, and now he's on the Rams. So that was a big loss, at least when it comes to Justin Fields. Because I mean, the Bears have a QB question, just like any other team that's trying to seal their franchise QB. I think Justin Fields is a good quarterback. I think some of the quarterbacks that's starting right now, I think he could be better than. But obviously, accuracy is a question. Reading through the defenses, I think that's one of his biggest problems so far from what I've seen. But I'm gonna keep my hopes up for Justin Fields. I think it's kind of unfair considering that the division he's in and also the situation that he was brought into with the Matt Nagy and I don't know if you guys remember that whole situation where it was like whether he should play and the fact that they threw him in the game against the Patriots and I think something like that. So you know what I mean. So we'll have to definitely look out for Justin Fields. But do they, are they stretched thin? Are they gonna do anything? More than likely not. But I mean, we'll see. We'll definitely see on that. And then last, we finally got to number 32. Is the Seattle Seahawks. I mean,
Seahawks
on paper,
depleted, but they're not 32. G.
You don't think they're 32?
Hell no.
No, they are not. They are depleted. I will say that, but they are not 32. G. They just. I think for the last part of this list. They just threw them teams in any order, like just because all of them in the same boat, they just shook the dice and just threw it out, basically. But
like you're not seeing them only winning one game, 2 games, 3 games this year. That's not happening.
Okay.
I mean, it is Geno Smith and Drew Lock, but come on, though, they better than the Texans, bro.
I don't know.
Better than the Texans.
I mean, I don't know. I think low key. I mean, I'm not high on this guy, but I think David Mills. we may or may not see something from this guy on the Texans. I mean, I seen a couple. I think he had like one big game last year, so I'm not really trying to chat him up. But I think I think that still puts them. I think the Texans are still better than the Seahawks. To me, I think the Seahawks, on paper, probably got one of the worst rosters out there. I mean, you got Geno Smith beating out Drew Lock at quarterback. We already know with the Seahawks defense, it's not even close to what it used to be. With the Legion of Boom, when Russell Wilson was the starting quarterback for the past couple of years, their defense is depleted every single year. Like, they've just gotten worse and worse, and now you don't even have Bobby Wagner on the team anymore, so they're not the same defense. You don't have Russell Wilson anymore, so you don't have a franchise QB. I beat with the Seahawks. There's a lot of questions. There's a lot of rebuilding to do. This team just has a lot of work. They're in a lot of work. They got a lot of work ahead of them.
I mean, I still don't see him as 32 though. I mean, that's Jesus, bro.
Sign Jimmy G.
Sign Jimmy G, man. Hey, sign Jimmy G before the Steelers get him.
Exactly. I'm telling you, one of those teams is gonna pick him up.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So that concludes at least the list for the NFL power rankings. That was that was our insight on whether which teams is going to be able to compete. The questions for each team, what it's looking like, what they can improve on. I mean, we really ran through the entire league and said, okay, are they going to make the playoffs? Questions that we're talking about, the roster as a whole, things that they're looking at, going into the season, and we really tapped into it, and we got deep in there. So going into this season though, for sure, like what do you guys see as one of those sleeper teams? Like give me like your biggest sleeper team going into the season, because there's always one when you going into the season.
Man, I mean, the first team that came to mind was the Colts.
Mm-hmm. AFC, yeah, for the AFC, definitely the Colts.
AFC Colts, definitely. Yeah.
NFC.
They go ahead.
Except for the NFC.
Like, you talking about winning it, or just being like
the sleeper? I'm thinking a sleeper team for the NFC. Because
the sleeper team. You talking about? Are you talking about winning it? Or are you talking about just like making noise?
Wait. When you said the Colts, what you thinking about the Colts winning it all?
No. I'm just talking about like doing more than what they are expected to do.
Yeah, definitely. For the AFC, I'll definitely say the Colts. But for the NFC, I'm trying to think.
Man,
that's a tough one.
Tough.
You said for the NFC?
It really is tough.
Yeah.
NFC is tough.
Honestly, with the NFC, it's really. I mean, honestly, I think it's harder to find the underdog team for the NFC, because I think it's more top heavy than the AFC. I mean, the AFC is a lot more versatile when it comes to competition. I mean, you got in the AFC, you got a lot of quarterbacks in that conference. With Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Russell Wilson, Derek Carr. Even to an extent, Lamar Jackson. He's still a really good quarterback, or somebody to play against. Like there's a lot of QB competition. And then with NFC, it's really just kind of like Packers with Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Rams. So it really is more so top heavy when it comes to the NFC. But I think I stated it before. I think the Chargers a really, that underdog team. I think they're gonna come out heavy this year. I think Justin Herbert is gonna show why he deserves to be one of the highest paid quarterback. I think they're gonna ink that in after this year, to ink him in, and simply because of the fact that he's on his rookie deal. Like I said before, this is their biggest opportunity to win. Typically, when teams win the Super Bowl, their quarterback, is only taking between 10 to 12% of the salary cap. I don't know if you guys might not know this or not. So, for a team to win a Super Bowl, on average, the QBs usually take that percentage, 10 to 12% of the salary cap. But Tom Brady is the only quarterback to have the highest salary cap on the team, and that was 12. That was 12%, and that was when he won it with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
That just goes to show, like salary cap matters, and specifically a point given time on how this QB is playing, and are you able to take advantage of paying him low and then putting the guys around him to be able to win. And then for AFC, I'm still stick to my pick with the Broncos. I think Russell Wilson. People kind of forget his season play. I think with him kind of getting injured for the better part of last year, and then I think the Seahawks for the better part of the season were not on the same page. You already had stories about Russell Wilson, on the outs and more than likely not staying with the team. But I think now, since he's with the team that he wants to be with, and the fact that he wants to be there, and the Broncos are always a competitive team, because Broncos are always one of those teams that's out to compete. Whether they have a quarterback or not, they've always been one of those teams. It's like you got to care about, you got to beat, and we've seen, last year when they went against the Cowboys, they blew them guys out. Nobody expected that, them to win that sort of game, and the way they did also. So you throw Russell Wilson in there, that makes a entirely different formula and a different makeup in that team, because Russell Wilson, I look at him as a top competitor when it comes to quarterbacks. We've seen Russell Wilson do some great things in the playoffs, and I think he's gotten a lot of heat for that interception in the Super Bowl. But for the most part, man, like Russell Wilson, he's a top. I think he's going to reemerge as a top 5 quarterback, in this league again.
Yeah, eventually.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't see him. But I don't see him staying in Denver.
You don't see him staying in Denver?
Nope.
Why you say that?
I think that's gonna be a short stay.
Yeah. He's not gonna be there for long.
Why y'all say that? The man just got there, and y'all think he's already about to leave?
Yeah. That Denver market is not a market for him and his wife.
You think Sierra is influencing on that? You think nah, Denver ain't for me?
Absolutely.
Yeah, no.
I say for the type of person that he is, I think Colorado is too free of a state for his liking.
Yeah, nah. I could see that, especially in a place like Denver. But I don't know, man. I just see Russell Wilson being able to do some things with that team. So I think it's too early to kind of say whether he stays or leave. We're kind of seeing it at the honeymoon phase. When a player just gets there, they're excited to have him. So I say, for me to kind of come up with that sort of assessment, I would say at least wait. See how he plays for that first year. And see where it goes from there.
We'll see.
Nah, Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
All right, Joe. Okay. So I mean, we ran through the list. We talked about what we can't talk about. We've already been going at it for like 2 hours and 30 minutes. So it's been a long stream. So anybody that tuned in, that dropped in, anybody that's watched the video, thank y'all for watching and sticking to it. It's Cash Sports Podcast, man. Like and subscribe. Hit that notification button also, so whenever we start live streaming, so anybody can hop on here and talk your shit. Hey, I promote it. If there's anything you gotta say, anything in regards to anything sports related, topic related, hey, we here to talk about it. And I know y'all see that Cash App too. They spread a little something. We inflation's going up. The market's looking crazy. So spread some love. But there it goes. This is Cash Sports. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Appreciate y'all, and have a good day.
Peace.